Hello, my name is Micah Jackson. Ever since you were a kid, you have been exposed to stories. Whether these stories were true to provide you an anecdote to realize why you should or shouldn't do something, or you were told stories to help better understand the world around you. You have told stories before, I've told stories before, everybody has told a story before, and everybody had listened to a story before. Well, today, I want to tell you more about the stories floating around your life. They are more important than you realize or thought to notice. Storytelling and exaggerating may be only a part of the truth in most cases. However, they are very important to shaping and developing the perspective of the world around us and the reality we live in. Storytelling dates back long before time itself, is what I would love to tell you. However, according to National Geographic, the earliest evidence of stories comes from the cave drawings in Lascaux and Cheval, France, which date as far back as 30,000 years ago. Now that's a long time. It definitely predates our calendar system, the Gregorian calendar. Storytelling is absolutely a universal tradition. It is a shared trait by every culture and civilization. I will present a few key examples of storytelling throughout history. All, if not most, of these examples should be familiar to you. For instance, when it comes to storytelling in religion, the Old Testament within the Holy Bible expresses many lessons through the telling of stories. A similar formula is presented within the first four books of the New Testament through the telling of parables. They are meant to teach us lessons on a fundamental level where we can relate to them and understand it. Another example of storytelling comes from the Hellenistic traditions of Greek mythology, the tragic journey of a hero, the story of their glory as well as their downfall. What is the purpose of these myths and legends told by the Grecians? The same purpose Jews and Christians use the Bible as their source of information and study. People who People want to understand how things came into being, how the universe was made, how the laws of our reality were written and work. These people of faith wanted to find answers, even if those answers are laughable in the face of those who believe in other concepts. The Old Testament is the first section of the Bible, covering the creation of earth through Noah and the flood, Moses, and more, states History.com. Also, from the book of Greek and Roman folktales, legends, and myths, it states these two genres of traditional story, myth and heroic legend, providing between them a more or less continuous account of events from the beginning of the cosmos to the end of the heroic age. We also find the telling of stories through the voices of the brothers Grimm. Presently, we know these stories as fairy tales. For instance, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, and the list goes on. Over time, these stories have been adopted by the modern era in a way that little kids can properly digest them. The original fairy tales are a little more darker than the Disney versions we see today. However, nothing compares to the stories parents tell their kids about imaginary characters such as Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. It's understandable that they want to add a little magic to their kids' life. But why else would they tell their kids that? Why else would they do it? We all tell stories for many different reasons, whether it is to tell a fib to avoid trouble, especially when we're children, to our parents. Or we may tell stories by exaggerating the truth a bit so that others are more interested in listening to us. We also tell stories to send a message, whether that message is to help them in a situation similar to our own so that they don't fall in the same mistakes that we made or that another person had made. Sometimes we hear about stories that are negative because the audience are more drawn to negative, especially in news stories. According to Steven Pinker, writing for The Guardian, the consequences of negative news are themselves negative. Far from being better informed, heavy news watchers can become miscalibrated. We also use stories for more important matters, especially such as moral lessons, like, for instance, the Bible. We all have heard of the Golden Rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, that rule came from somewhere, and that somewhere is the Holy Bible. I will read a passage for you from the Holy Bible in Matthew 7:12 using the King James Version. And it reads, "Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that man should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets." Another example of storytelling to send a message is the story of the 300. We learn about a group of Spartans who go up against a huge army made up of Persians and the people they have captured in the past. The point of the story, even though it's exaggerated, that's the reason everybody's so interested in listening to it. But we learn about the underdogs, the people who you wouldn't expect to win or to beat the odds. But that's the exact point of that story. Even when the odds are against you, you have to try your best, even if it means to fight to the death, quote unquote. Life is built around the ability to tell the truth in unique and creative ways, even when it's stretching it just a bit. Storytelling is one of the oldest professions this world has to offer, but why do we keep it around? It's as important to tell the truth as it is to decode it from what we are made to believe. You listen to the news every day. You exaggerate the truth to people. You recall past events based off of your own perception. The truth isn't something we can just pull out of the blue. It is a living, breathing concept that rides the same roller coaster we take part in to find it in the first place. The truth is, nobody knows the truth. We're just telling it how it is as it unfolds.